Robot Wars, a show where battling machines fight it out to see who is the greatest. Fighting in our purpose-made arenas, these mechanical monsters are out for either blood or oil. Head-to-head battles whittle down the competition until there is only one champion. But who will take home the trophy and be crowned the Robot Wars 2017 champion? Let's find out. This is Robot Wars, and this is our second heat lineup. Our head-to-head stage today features 8 more robots: Extremis 2, Tornado, Panic Attack, Wham, Thor, Shadowcat, Dantomkia, and Storm 2. Some interesting heats here. Let's see how they get on. First up is Extremis 2 versus Tornado. Let's join them in the arena and get to know them. From Huntingdon, Tornado, vertical flywheel spinner. Tornado is a classic, won the 6th Wars way back when, and now is back to try out the Grand Slam. From Cows on the Isle of Wight, Extremis 2, spinner. Extremis 2 is a brand new robot to the competition. It has brutal weaponry, but it is untested in battle and doesn't look overly invertible to me. Here they are lining up in the arena, ready to fight it out. Who will win here, vertical versus horizontal spinner?
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
And so we begin. First of all, Tornado got straight in there even before Extremis could spin up. Extremis flipped on the floor flipper there. That was a mistake for them. But now, driving around, lots of pushing power on Tornado. Really good at pushing. Not as destructive as it may used to have been. It's not used to something like Hardox used to fight against, maybe some steel, maybe some aluminium back in the day, causing more damage than they do now. However, they have got an active weapon, and good hit there from Extremis on that box structure of Tornado. This is an interesting fight, very back and forth, each calculating the other. Tornado trying to push. Extremis 2's got some good traction on the arena floor here, and Tornado struggling to push Extremis there. That is interesting. Extremis got straight in on the side, attacking the wheels there. That's good. Oh, and Tornado flipped there. This is a very back and forth fight. I've said it myself once before. Now you've heard me say it again. I don't care. Extremis pushing. Tornado stuck on top of Extremis, now almost free. There we go, freed. They are flipped, however. This is a problem for Tornado. They're not as good when flipped. Hits there from Extremis. Deadly weaponry there from Extremis. Deadly spinner, can do lots of damage. Tornado still trying to push and doing so well there. Pushing Extremis against the wall. Not really achieving anything. Extremis has those 2 out-forking prongs out of the front of the robot. This prevents the spinner from hitting the wall, but can catch robots. Oh, both of them on the floor flipper, and they've both been flipped. And what has happened here? Neither robot is moving. Extremis doesn't have wheels on top. This could be a problem. Tornado don't appear to have any wheels on the ground here.
Cease.
And cease has been called. Very interesting. We'll have to go to a judge's decision. So early on, Tornado got some good pushes in. Extremis's weaponry quite destructive. Didn't see many sparks flying. Tornado struggled to push occasionally. Lots of poor control going onto the floor flipper from Tornado. In underneath Tornado there was Extremis. Interesting. Tornado allowed Extremis to get their weapon up to speed. Not overly aggressive. This is a problem. However, they did sort of make up for it in the later part of the fight, but that last flip on the floor flipper cost both robots dearly. Well, the judges have made their decision, and the result is in. It is Extremis 2 gets the win there. Extremis 2 have taken the win against Tornado. Big upset. The winner of the 6 wars goes out. The rookies move forwards into our semi-finals, as you can see here, confirmed by our screen. So next up is Panic Attack versus Wham. From Cardiff, Panic Attack, Lifter. Panic Attack won Series 2 of Robot Wars, a different calibre of robots then. How will it hold up against Wham, I wonder? From Truro, Wham, Hammerbot. Wham is a hammer bot, the first we've seen in a while. Heavy weaponry from Wham, really powerful, but exposed wheels. Panic Attack and Wham lining up in the arena, as you can see. Who will win?
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
And so here we go, Panic Attack in underneath Wham. No real lift there though. Wham getting the hammer onto Panic Attack. Very good from them. However, Panic Attack have flipped Wham. Wham has a good Shremek though, can self-right from most positions. That heavy weaponry helps spiral it up. Hopefully we'll get to see some of that later on. Wham getting more good hits on Panic Attack. Panic Attack sort of taking the damage. What is wrong with Panic Attack here? Seems a bit sluggish. Maybe it was the incline of the arena on that one side. Wham coming in. Floor flipper very slow there. Missing Panic Attack there, Wham. That's unfortunate for them. Panic Attack flip Wham once again. Good attacking from Panic Attack. Oh, the floor flipper went off there, or was it Wham self-righting? I think it might have been Wham self-righting, actually. Panic Attack, another flip from them, and another. Sort of spiralling, a barrel roll there from Wham. Wham now on its side, trying to get that weaponry round and up the right way. I said we'd probably see it, and we have. Wham gets a hit on Panic Attack. Panic Attack now on the floor flipper. Oh, Panic Attack have been flipped. Now, will their Shremek work? It said no Shremek on their card. Can they self-right from here? No, they can't, and Wham knows it. Hitting. Oh, but Wham have lost their hammer. Where's... What? Wham have lost their weapon. That is extraordinary. The weaponry laying on the floor, as you can see, but Wham have won this fight. Panic Attack are out.
Cease.
Well done from Wham there. Another veteran out of the competition, and the newbie going straight through to the semi-final. We saw the power of the hammer really in this fight. Wham got a good early blow in, however Panic Attack did come back up in the early stages. Very back and forth this fight. Hammer blows and lifts all the way. Some good action here. Very nice fighting from both competitors. A well-matched fight, I think. And it was a poor driving mistake that allowed Wham to win this one. Panic Attack flipped. Wham loses their weapon. Well, here we are, head-to-heads are still going, we're halfway through. Next up is Thor versus Shadowcat. Who will win this one? Let's find out. From Northampton, Thor, Axebot. Thor is a veteran robot, an experienced robot with powerful weaponry, but less armoured at the rear. Let's see how they get on. From London, Shadowcat, Lifter. Shadowcat is a new robot to the competition, the third of this heat. It can lift a lot, has a very awkward shape and low ground clearance, but a lack of experience. So, Thor and Shadowcat in the arena, ready to fight it out.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
And here we go. Shadowcat and Thor, both very quick. Thor can get up to 30 miles an hour. Shadowcat, not as quick. Now, let's see. Shadowcat trying to get a lift there. Not an overly good one, however, and Thor gets straight in on the top of that lifting arm. However, that is a very well armoured piece there, not really affecting any of the inner mechanisms. I don't think that will break Shadowcat. Let's see how this is going. Shadowcat, try another lift. Oh, both on the floor flipper there. However, Shadowcat self-righting. We know Thor can. There we are. Thor's opted for a slightly off-centre axe this time, thinking that dead centre isn't as good as slightly off to one side. Interesting tactics from Thor there. Shadowcat trying to lift, not overly good at that. However, they've got on the side here. Now, Thor is on its side. No, Thor are fine and driving away, resetting their axe in the process. Shadowcat, what can they do here? Can they get a lift in? They're leaving Thor alone, letting them drive away. Maybe just finding out a bit more about their machine. Unexperienced team trying their best to learn. However, in on the side of Thor. Now, right underneath. Can they get a good lift in here on Thor? Yes, they can. Lifting Thor and almost biting down on Thor here. Now, driving away again. This is an interesting back and forth fight. The pit is open. Now, will we see any different tactics here? Shadowcat definitely trying to end this quickly. Got Thor in their mouth. Trying, no, all very close to going in there. Shadowcat need to watch out for the pit. Thor drives straight out of the mouth there. That's interesting. I say mouth, it's the lifter. Oh, now Thor pushes after an axe blow. Shadowcat almost went in there. Oh, and Shadowcat trying the same thing. Shadowcat trying to push Thor. Shadowcat now lifting Thor. Thor will have to be very careful when self-righting, but they're fine. They're okay. They're managing to get by. Shadowcat very nearly pushes Thor into the pit. Thor trying their best to get this over and done with. Very close to the pit again. This is a very dangerous game. Both are playing. However, Shadowcat has been flipped. Can they self-right? No, I don't think they can. They're on that slight incline in the arena and up against the side wall. I don't think they can self-right here. And Thor think they've got the win. They're hitting the underside of Shadowcat, trying to break something free. Maybe, I think this might be over. And I think Thor may be the victor here. Well done, Thor. You have won this bout. So I said inexperience, the floor flipper got both of them there. However, Thor clawed it back a bit, some good hits, Shadowcat, some good lifts. This is a brand new machine and I look forward to seeing some more from Shadowcat. Could do the business. Now they've got a little more experience under their belt, some good lifts on Thor, and Thor should have avoided those. Almost in the pit, both of them there. Almost driving in themselves, Shadowcat. They'll have to watch out for that in later fights, not in this episode though, because they have gone out. Shadowcats managed to get themselves on the floor flipper. That's unfortunate, but it's all experience for them and they should be back. But Thor is going through here, so let's have a look at our board. We can see that the last fight is between Dantomkia and Storm 2.
From East Kirkby, Dantomkia. Flipper!
Dantomkia is a very powerful flipper. It can act as a whole body spinner should their limited CO2 supply get the better of them. I look forward to seeing that.
From Martlesham Heath, Storm 2, Lifter.
Storm 2 is a excellent lifter. They got second place in the 7th Wars and became the 3rd World Champions. How will they fare here against Dantomkia, though? Well, we're about to find out. Let's get started, shall we? This is going to be an interesting fight, I think. One for the ages. Here we go.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
And so we begin. Storm 2 gets on top there of Dantomkia. Dantomkia, an excellent flip against the side wall. can't get them out that way very easily. Lifting there, trying to at least Storm 2 on the back foot here, I would say. However, good slam against the side wall there. Dantomkia getting some good flips in there, another one. But Storm 2 comes straight back. The floor flipper attempting to flip Dantomkia there, not succeeding. Storm 2 tries to push Dantomkia into the pit. That only opens 1 minute into the fight, though. Both onto the floor flipper. Oh, now Dantomkia's been caught on the floor flipper. And Storm 2 seems to be fine. What's going to happen here? Dantomkia seems to be trying to self-right. Can't quite do it. And no cease has been called. Well, what happens here? I think we're going to have to carry on from where they were. That was a good, interesting first half, though. Dantomkia, I feel, may be on top very slightly. Storm 2 trying to get some pushes and slams in there. Not succeeding very often. Dantomkia flipping more often than not. But how will the judges mark the fact that both ended up being flipped by the floor flipper? Well, we're about to go again.
1. Activate.
So they start from the exact place they were stopped. They haven't moved except for Dantomkia, who's been freed from the pit. Not the pit, the flipper. It acted like a pit perhaps, but it is the flipper, I promise you that. Dantomkia getting underneath Storm 2, some good flips here. Trying to self-right there, Storm 2 succeeding at that, but Dantomkia straight back underneath them. Really good flipper, this Dantomkia. Really excellent precision. They know when to best flip. They know when to hold on to their CO2. That could have been fatal there. Oh, the pit is open. I say it could have been fatal. Both drove back onto the flipper. And we could have had a repeat there. Storm 2 underneath. Dantomkia now trying to lift, not succeeding very well. Dantomkia, oh, and an amazing flip straight into the pit. Storm 2, unlucky. They were caught right on the very back, and Dantomkia just flipped them straight in. Excellent from Dantomkia. Really good way to finish that fight for them. Well done, Wow, I can't speak. I'm that baffled. Dantomkia. Really, the second half was all about them. Excellent flips all the way. Storm 2 did get underneath them a couple of times, but really, it didn't do that much to Dantomkia, and Dantomkia really did go for it in that part. This could have been interesting, where Storm 2 pushed Dantomkia under that small gap in the arena sidewall. That is so the pit can escape, but maybe if they'd have got wedged under there, it has happened before, perhaps this would have been a different fight. Not a lot Storm 2 could have done to prevent that. So Storm 2 go out. As we can see, we have our 4 semi-finalists going through are Extremis 2, Wham, Thor and Dantomkia, and here you can see them in the semi-final format. Extremis 2 will be going up against Wham in just a moment. Thor versus Dantomkia will follow. So Wham and Extremis 2 are in the arena ready to fight. Who will win this one? This should be an interesting one. Very deadly spinner on Extremis. Wham, very hard-hitting hammer. I look forward to seeing the results.
Stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
And so Extremis gets straight up to speed, not mucking about here. Wham drives straight at Extremis, that front wedge being quite a good spinner killer, it would seem. Not overly good at getting underneath other robots, although here Extremis seems to be the exception to this. They're at just the right height to get underneath, perhaps. And will we see this? They did some measuring up in the pits just before this fight. Extremis 2 got some good hits in just there. Excellent on the side, on those wheels. They are very exposed, but they don't seem to be getting overly damaged. Extremis 2 trying their best to hit there. Oh, and that was an excellent slice right up the right-hand side of Wham. Now, trying to push into the pit again, not open yet. Wham getting some good hammer attacks in. Oh, but both flipped on the floor flipper. Extremis are fine here, but Wham self-right. wasting some CO2 there. They are CO2 powered in that hammer. Now Extremis gets on top of that wedge. That's bad for them. Oh, and onto that floor flipper again. Wham having to use CO2 to self-right. They've reattached the hammer, which is good to see. And I'm quite glad because I didn't really want them to go into this fight without a weapon, if I'm honest. 2 rookies here. This is very interesting to see the new wave of Roboteers. Very good to see some excellent weaponry on both of these robots. Now, Extremis are underneath Wham here, and what can they do? They're trying to push. It's not long until the pit is going to open. The pit is opening. That was very close. Wham could have ended up going straight down the pit there when it opened. That would have been a shame for them to go out in such a way. Keep hitting there. They keep hitting Extremis on the top. There is an extra panel there for more armor on top. This is an interesting development. Oh, now that front wedge looks loose to me. It looks like it's coming away from the robot. Is it? Yes, it is. Extremis cleave it away from Wham, and now I would say Wham is on top. That was the floor flipper. Flipping Extremis. They're lucky to be still on their feet. They're doing very well. More hits though from Wham on that top panel. It's really not doing that much, although it is scoring some aggression points. Extremis get onto that now lower part and keep hitting away at more of the body. This is a very interesting fight developing. This could go the whole distance. Oh, but more has been taken off of Wham, and Wham look in a bad way. They're right next to the pit. Can they escape? Extremis have them locked, and now they're dangling over the pit. Can they escape? I don't think they can. Only their right-hand side is attached. And that part of Wham getting caught on Extremis there, pushing it into the pit further, and Extremis push Wham straight into the pit. Well done, Extremis. They're through to the heat. Final. Wham go out in stupendous manners. I'm not sure what that sentence means, but we'll go with it anyway. Wham really did need to hit somewhere else other than that top panel. It's such a shame. They are very well armoured, Extremis on the top. That extra triangle really does prove to help Extremis. They're not jarring anything free there. Extremis lucky. That was an interesting roll there. Wham gets some real damage from Extremis, and Extremis has been probably the most deadly weapon we've seen yet in the Grand Slam. Excellent win, and they go through to the heat final. Wham go out. I'm so excited by all of this. My words just aren't forming. Up next, Dantomkia and Thor are lining up ready to fight it out. Who will win here? An axe versus a flipper. Both run on CO2. One has the ability to be a full-body spinner. Will we get to see that here? Maybe, maybe not. We'll have to wait and see.
2, 1, activate.
And so they're off, and wow, Dantomkia straight in underneath Thor. That is extraordinary. Thor trying to reset. Dantomkia back underneath Thor. Thor need to try a different tactic. They've not, but they've succeeded at their first one, getting underneath Dantomkia. This is a game of wedges here. Who has the lower wedge? And at the minute, Thor is underneath Dantomkia, which in this game means that they're on top, but not literally. Dantomkia, another good flip. I think usually Dantomkia would be the lowered, but not at the side. Both on the floor flipper, both flipped. Both can self-right though, and do so in fine style. Again, style is not in this competition, folks. Now, Dantomkia, what a flip there from them. Twice a good flip, and Thor end up back on the floor flipper. And now both of them end up back on the floor flipper. Will they? No, they won't get flipped this time, but Dantomkia will be flipping Thor. And Thor needs to try and self-right from here. Can they do it? Yes, they can. Just driving backwards slightly has allowed them to do this. Thor try and hit again with that axe or hammer, whatever you want to call it. Dantomkia, oh, flipped again, but Dantomkia have been coming off of these better. Thor had to use more CO2 there to self-right. Dantomkia could just sit and wait, really. They could have attempted to flip Thor, who is now beating them to a pulp. Or not really, because that titanium armour is proving very strong. Another flip from the floor flipper. Thor will have to try and right themselves from here, but Dantomkia is proving difficult. They are flipping Thor all over the arena, as you can see. But they're using up their CO2. Is Thor trying to save some of theirs after using some up? Well, they're trying to self-right from here. Can they do it? The pit is open, and will Dantomkia try and flip Thor into the pit, or still trying to get them out over the side wall? I think the pit is probably a better option for them here. Oh, now was that damage on Thor? I think it was, yes. A panel has come off of Thor. You can see it laying there still. And another floor flipper, but that seems to have self-righted Thor, with Thor dangling over the pit. What will happen here? You can feel the power, and Dantomkia flip Thor into the pit. That was stupendous. Well done, Dantomkia. You win this battle. Thor trying to get underneath Dantomkia throughout this one. Dantomkia succeeding more often than Thor. However, Thor did get some good hits in. They were unlucky, poor control on that floor flipper, driving onto it so many times. I think about 4 times in the end there. Thor ended up getting flipped. That was very close for Dantomkia getting Thor out of the arena. They just needed to be further away from the side wall. Thor still attempted to flip, damage done to Thor. Dantomkia being more aggressive, and in the end being more successful in an explosive flip there. But our heat final is shaping up to be Extremis 2 versus Dantomkia, and here we go, straight into it, our heat final. Tension is mounting. Dantomkia is a very low and very powerful flipper. Extremis 2, the most damaging weapon we've seen in the Grand Slam so far. Who will take the win here? I think we're about to find out. Who could go through to fight Apollo in the Ultimate Grand Slam Championship fight? As our last fight in the episode, we shall soon see. It's Extremis versus Dantomkia. I'm very excited for this one. Here we go then.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
And so they begin. Dantomkia gets straight underneath Extremis. Extremis lucky not to be pinned against the side wall there. Gyro dancing in the air for Extremis. They can perform that. That is their Shremek anti-flip. Dantomkia unfortunately doesn't have an anti-flip and got flipped by the floor flipper. Extremis 2 got flipped up against the side wall, attacking Dantomkia, knocking them away. This is good action from Extremis, but they were flipped, but coming back on the attack, more aggression from Extremis, but Dantomkia now getting onto the aggressive side, flipping Extremis all over the place. What is happening here? Extremis getting back up to full speed, Dantomkia flipping them. Will they be able to keep up the right way, Extremis, or will Dantomkia flip them over? Well, they're trying their very best. Can they stop that spinner, though? I'm not sure they can flip there. They're too compact in the corner there. So Dantomkia drive away and try again. Poor timing on the flipper. Oh, but they have flipped Extremis. And now Extremis is up the wrong way. Dantomkia is up the wrong way. Extremis is pinned up against the side wall. Dantomkia think they've won this. I think they've won this too. Dantomkia will be going through to fight Apollo in the heat final. Extremis pinned against the side wall, and there's nothing they can do to self-right here. Well done, Dantomkia. You head through to the heat final. So we saw some good flipping action from Dantomkia. Again, quite a back and forth fight. Dantomkia, I would say, more aggressive maybe, but Extremis did cause some good damage and was quite aggressive. Dantomkia poor control to end up on the floor flipper once again. Perhaps it wasn't Thor that was the problem. It definitely was. Extremis unlucky to get pinned against the side wall there. Dantomkia, a very good flipper. So Extremis 2 are eliminated. Dantomkia are our heat finalists. Congratulations to them, but it's not over yet. Dantomkia will now go through to face Apollo in the ultimate championship fight, the ultimate grand final. And here we can see Apollo from the last episode flipping King B. Very good from them, an excellent flipper. And in their heat final against Thermidor 2, this is how they got here. 2 flips. Wasn't all it took, but that's how we're going to make it look. So, Apollo versus Dantomkia. 2 very good flippers. Apollo may be the stronger of the 2, but Dantomkia definitely the more resistant. This is going to be a very interesting fight, and I can't call this one. It could go either way.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
And so we begin the ultimate grand final. Dantomkia sort of eating Apollo there. Apollo get the first proper flip. Dantomkia aren't going to take that though. They're flipping Apollo all over the arena. Some excellent flips there from Dantomkia. And now Apollo driving, trying to self-right. They did, but Dantomkia, more flips. That was incredibly close to Apollo going out and Dantomkia winning, but Apollo remained in and is trying to self-right now. Dantomkia underneath didn't take the opportunity. Apollo self-right and Apollo flipping Dantomkia now. Who could win this one? It's still very even, though Dantomkia, I feel, is on top here. And no, that was Apollo on top there, which means they are definitely on the back foot. Now, Apollo underneath Dantomkia, flipping them once again. Dantomkia self-righting, both using CO2, both using up their CO2. But Apollo got some good flips. Dantomkia righted by the floor flipper, didn't have to use CO2 there. Apollo definitely won't. No, I was wrong completely. But they have just used some more, trying to get free of Dantomkia. Dantomkia trying to flip again, not quite as lucky, but are still getting Apollo flipped all over the arena. Apollo now under Dantomkia. This is very back and forth. Dantomkia were on top. Dantomkia now struggling to self-right. Who will win this one? I really do not know. If it goes to the judges, currently I think Dantomkia is on top. And yes, they are on top. Will Apollo take it? Yes, they will. Apollo have flipped Dantomkia out of the arena, and that is a win for Apollo. Fantastic flipping from Apollo. They self-right, they celebrate by a spin as usual, and they have won the Grand Slam 2017 Pilot Special episodes. This is a very long title. Well done, Apollo. Flipping very well there. The first flip, Dantomkia got a lot of flips in too. As you can see, they really didn't let up for Apollo. Apollo really struggled there and were very close to leaving the arena. If that sidewall wasn't higher, I think they probably would have gone there. However, it was, and Dantomkia really on the back foot of the second half of this fight. This proved to be an incredible heat final. And Apollo, you are the champions. Congratulations to Apollo. They are the Grand Slam 2017 champion. And they have now got the trophy with them. Well done, Apollo. Congratulations to the team. And we look forward to seeing you in the next full series of the Grand Slam. Goodbye.